Hi everyone, I am Noelle with Noelle Rollins Art. So this video is all about inherited items. The stress that comes with that, the guilt, the blessings, the memories, the choices. Do we keep it? Do we donate it? Do we sell it? What do we do with these things? All of it. So I have felt all of the feelings with inherited items, and I'm going to just give you a little of my backstory first. My first round of inherited items was in my early 30s when my mom unexpectedly passed away. So she was an avid shopper, loved things, had beautiful, beautiful taste and decor, and a large home with my dad, and lots of things filling that house. So even with my two brothers and two sisters and we all inherited trailerfuls of things. We sold things, we donated things, and there was still more things than I could fit in my house. So being in a new marriage, in this new house, new to me house, and it was not a large house, I was stuck with a lot of decisions about how I can even fit these things in my house. How to honor the memory of the things that I didn't want to keep or couldn't keep. How can I go through these things without attaching my choice to this item to the love for my mom? I felt it that deeply. Like I knew she had picked out, each thing with love and care. Some of them were from her travels. Some of them were from her relatives, things she'd inherited. Some were total crap that she just had because she had 5 kids and had to have stuff. So like sifting through all of that and trying to analyze the intention of each piece and what her intention for it was, if it would fit into my life, and then carry on from there. So I'll talk more about that in a second. Another round came a few years later when my father-in-law passed away. We didn't inherit as much from that, but there was just a couple items. Around that same time, my grandparents downsized from their home to an assisted living center. And while we didn't inherit very many things from that, we were given a couple things. By this point, my patience and my appreciation for people's stuff has gone down to almost zero. I was so sick of things. For over a year, I spent, almost at least one day a week with my sister, and we'd go over to my grandparents' house and we would help them declutter and go through things and sort through papers and clothing and garbage. And no, I don't mean to make them sound like they're hoarders. They weren't. They just had lived in that house since the 60s. They'd raised kids in that house. They had a lot of things. There was some memory issues starting to creep in and an inability to sort maybe at a level they once had. There was also, I'm going to guess at least 75 photo albums full of photos. They like to travel. They were from Finland, and so they had all kinds of, Finland volumes 1 through, let's say, 15 of here's your cousins and here's your ancestors and here's where we went when we went there, and this is a cousin of yours. Do you know this? You get the idea. Very proud of their heritage. And at some point, the reality was they weren't going to remember this. They were going to pass on. And now all of that stuff is sitting here and what to do with it. So that leaves me to today, to where I guess I could add in one more grandma who downsized, and I was able to go through her things just a little bit. I had other relatives take care of 99% of that. I showed up for a couple hours and just helped where I could. Came home with a couple items that are really meaningful and fit into my life now. But it's been a long journey coming here. And so dealing with other people's things, I'm just going to give you some tips of what I have found. 1, if you have the choice and you're not ready to go through stuff, it's okay to put it off for a little while. If you don't have the choice, like they lived somewhere that now that stuff has to go, Or in my case, my dad just kind of was like, I can't live with all of these things around. Can you help me out, girls? And we just had to kind of make some decisions with it. There was a lot of healing and memory triggering in a good way that helped us work through our emotions a lot, going through my mom's things especially, where from her clothing and imagining her wearing that item to gifts that she had bought and had tucked away in the basement for that coming Christmas. Excuse me. All the way to just things we had growing up. So it was a really beautiful experience to kind of have time to sift through those things and make decisions about that. But what I did realize was a very strong lesson that when we die, and we all will die, we don't take any of our stuff with us. It will be left to the decisions of others who may or may not have any idea what, this stone that you have sitting on your nightstand means to you, to where you got your jewelry box from. Is it valuable? Should we hold on to this? All of those things. We have no idea. So then you're stuck as a child going through things in this heavy mixture of guilt, wanting to honor their intention for the item, and sadness, deep sadness as you're holding and doing each item. It's a lot. So I think we can use that lesson in our own lives and help declutter some of our stuff that does not matter to us. If you have things around you, this is just a side note, if you have things around you that you don't use, don't touch, don't really even care about, it's just there because maybe it served a purpose at one point in your life, it's okay to let that go on to another family to enjoy that. Please do it for the sake of your people in your life that are going to be holding that item and spending 10, 15 minutes trying to decide what to do or what it is or what was its purpose, its memory. Another tip I have is, even for the things that you decide you are not going to keep, but you have memories attached to them, or they're too big for your space, take photos of them. You can take photos of the house before you go through anything, so you remember things as it was. I did this. I did a walkthrough video of my parents' house, and there's something so special about seeing how my mom had it decorated, the wallpaper choices with what was on the wall, how her coffee maker was set up and where it was on the counter, and her spices. Like, those things mean so much to me, more almost than any item, specifically. As I started going through things, I know this video is kind of bouncing around. There's so much to say about it. As we started going through things, we kind of chose to okay, we're going to do layer 1 first. What do we know is just trash and can get rid of? That is the easiest thing to just, whether you have garbage bags, boxes, whatever it is, set aside the stuff that you know is just an easy let it go sort of thing. Every room we went through, we'd have a bag for either a sell, donate, something like that bag, and a get rid of bag. The keep things, our first round, I think we just kept in place to deal with later. That helped a ton. So as we were in the basement, we could go, okay, old wallpaper, is this useful to someone? Maybe. Maybe that stays in the maybe pile. Maybe some of it is just ripped. Oh, wait, that one has a water stain. Oh, wait, that one's dirty. Okay, trash. Another thing was with her clothing. Now, none of us were the same size as our mom. She was a little bit taller, had a different build than any of us girls did. So we let some of our relatives, like her sister and kids and stuff, kind of pick through what they wanted, another sister-in-law, and then beyond that, we donated it all to a women's center that could kind of benefit women that are putting their lives back together. So that was an easy decision. It made us feel really good about her things and that they were going on to help other women. The hardest things for me were things like her china. She had 3 sets of china, and each one of my sisters got one. Her jewelry, a couple pieces. I'm not a big jewelry person, but there's a few pieces. Like, I always wear a certain ring that was hers. Let's see what else. Some of her decor. Like, she had beautiful taste in, pictures and mirrors and tablecloths and things like that. That was hard for me to let go of. And what I did was I inherited a bunch, and I kind of looked at it almost like layers of an onion. the stuff I couldn't say no to at first, I just kind of let it be there, and I'd have some stuff out. I had some stuff in boxes. And what I found was like the next year I'd revisit those, and I was able to let a few more things go. And then the same thing every year since. So now it's been 12 years, and I have just a handful of things that are really special to me. And I have been able to let go of most other things and really just kind of cherish the things that are still here with me. One particular incident this summer that was a really big thing for me was I finally decided to let go of my mom's china. The amount of guilt that I still kind of feel, it's lessening. But there's a little bit there, I'm going to be honest, of getting rid of her china. She loved collecting china, and she had a few different patterns, and that was her thing. It's 100% not my thing. But my love of her made me want to honor that love that she had for it. So for 12 years, this beautiful china sat in a tote. I moved it to this house we're in now. It was in the garage. I moved it to the pantry. It never got used. I pulled the cream and sugar pieces out of it and had them on display. The rest of it sat for over a decade. Finally, this summer, I decided, you know what? I'm going to use this gift from her, and I'm going to use this money to put it towards our travel around the world goal, and consider that a gift from my mom, that she is right there with us, rooting us on. And I actually truthfully sat in a moment of just silence where I just felt her like, Mom, are you okay with this? And all I could hear was like, let it go. It's okay. I am not my things. Like the lesson that she's had since is just let it go. Never hold on to something out of guilt. And so I took photos of it. I listed on eBay, and I sold it. Sold really quick, actually, for a good amount of money, and it made me feel good. I kept the cream and sugar pieces of it, and then I kept one saucer. And it's so pretty. But I will use this. So I could put a candle in this. I could put jewelry on it. Now it's not so overwhelming as an entire set sitting in a tote forever, not to be touched. I always thought someday we'll use this china, and it just, probably not. By the time our kids are old enough that we would maybe want to use it, truthfully, they'll probably be grandkids, and we won't want to use it again. So much better to let someone else who really will love it take it and use it, and then I get to just keep a couple of these pieces and hold on to them. So that is my story, you guys, about stuff and how I got rid of my mom's china. And I could talk for days about this, weeks. The moral of the story is we are not our stuff. Free yourself. You can love things, and I totally get it. If you are not a minimalist and you want things around you, I get that completely. But I think we all have things that we don't have an attachment to, and we don't necessarily care. Start with those things, because what happens, I promise you, is as you get rid of the things that don't matter as much, you actually get to see the things that you love more. By having less stuff kind of taking up our energy and our shelf space and our storage space, we've actually been able to put out the few things that we've kept that we really like are able to be displayed now. And how special is that? They have meaning. They are full of memories. I actually, from each of my grandmas, have a flat salad plate. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but and I use a couple of them under my plants as kind of saucers. So no one else would know that or care, but to me, that's just a little touch from each of my grandmas, who are both still alive, but it's in my home, and it's special to me, and I don't need 500 things to remember them with and love and all of that. I can have some photos, and I can cherish those, and I can have just a few very carefully curated items around. So go easy on yourself. If you are going through inherited items, it's a lot. It's a lot of emotions, and don't feel like you have to do it right away if you don't have to. If you can take photos of them, I mean, this might sound weird to someone who hasn't gone through it, but totally normal to me. I took one of my mom's bras and put it in a Ziploc bag and for at least probably 5 years after, once in a while, I'd open the bag and just take a smell. So that'll either make me sound like a complete psychopath, or you'll totally get what I'm saying. Like smelling a t-shirt of someone's smelling, that just happened to be what I had. It holds a smell, and that's a different kind of memory trigger. So those are some of my tips. If you have someone's things, as soon as you can, put it in a Ziploc bag and seal it up so you can have that other type of memory from it. So what would you add to this list? I could talk for 10 hours about this. I was trying to get it down to just the basics and the kind of just letting you know it's okay to feel all the emotions. Because often when we're going through this, we don't know who to talk to about it. It's an awkward conversation. And what I found is I didn't always want to talk to my siblings or my dad about it because there's some weirdness about it. Like, I don't know. They all had different opinions of where their comfort level is about things and the amount that they want to hold on to. My dad was like, he didn't want anything. He took a bin full of photos and a couple items, and he is good. I don't know if he ever opened that bin of photos, kind of thing. The others have had, like, I have a brother who's had a storage locker since she passed. He has stuff sitting in that storage locker he's never touched, he's never looked at. Hopefully it's all okay for him when he finally someday gets a house and has a place to put it. We all just have different paths and different life circumstances. And the loved ones we've lost, all of those stories are different. Our relationships with them, our comfort level, our style's the same. If my mom had a completely different style of decor than I liked, then that would have been a different dilemma, to be honest. Or if we would have been the same size, that would have been it. I probably would have had a much harder time letting the clothes go. So just go easy on yourself. There's no perfect answer, but just know that you don't have to keep all of the things. It's just not reality, and it's not fair to those around you if you never make that decision of what can go and what can stay. And one more note I'll make is we had about 4 different garage sales through the years. So we donated a ton. We had a ton of garage sales. A few family friends each took, a few things here and there. I repurposed some things into other things, some furniture, some different things like that. I was able to paint and use them in a kid's room, stuff like that. I took photos of other things, just as kind of a wrap up, trying to run through just the basics here. And then some things we did keep. A few things we still do have here. In fact, I still have the couch. It was a really good couch, and it's lasted, over a decade. An entertainment center. Just a few really special things like that I know my mom picked out, and I won't have them forever, but I'm really cherishing them that, she picked them. And, my love for her is so, so strong. And even not having seen her in 12 years, I can't even think about it really. But I know she's here, and I feel her often. And I feel her blessing on my life. Even though I'm making very different choices than almost anyone else in my family, and I'm living a life that's very true to me, it feels good to just kind of feel connected to her. And sometimes things do that, and sometimes just talking to her does that. So, all right, you guys, this winding video full of all kinds of different topics. If there's a certain part of this you'd love to hear more on, let me know in the comments. And if you have anything you'd like to add, let me know as well. I think we all can share tips and ideas and things for going through this process and help those who are about to go through it and they don't know what's coming. Anything that we can take from that really hard time and use it to help others, I think is a blessing for them. So, all right, you guys, like this video if you got anything from it. Leave a comment. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I have all sorts of art business lessons and also a lot about grief and loss and remembering our loved ones and the entire real behind the scenes process of what that actually feels like and how to move forward and use all of that as fuel for living this amazing, great life. You don't have to sit in the sadness forever. You can use that love for that person and that loss and the story of their loss possibly as motivation and purpose for helping others and for living a really amazing life like they would want you to do. So, all right, you guys, thanks so much for watching. All right, bye.